You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome back to Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today and we have another show lined up for y'all today. We have a special guest, Dr. Sheila K. Collins. She's not just an award-winning author, she's a grief advocate, and she is someone that you need to know. We always try to feature the best of the best on this program, and I think we did that justice today. We have a special guest with Dr. Sheila K. Collins. After losing 2 adult children, Sheila discovered the healing power of art and turned that pain into a purpose. She's the author of Warrior Mother, and she has a groundbreaking new book, The Art of Grieving, How Art and Art Making Help Us Grieve and Live Our Best Lives. So first and foremost, Dr. Sheila, thank you for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shamaya. I really love the opportunity to chat with people about what I care about.
Well, that's what makes it special. And kind of paint the picture for our viewers, our audience, your personal journey and how that dealing with grief has prepared you what you're doing right now.
Well, yes. In fact, I call myself now a grief advocate, not just a grief, speaker or a grief expert. Nobody's an expert, and maybe everybody's an expert on what do we do with loss, because loss is the most common experience you can have, and it'll happen 3 or 4 times before you go to bed tonight. Small things, disappointments perhaps, or somebody didn't call that, your kid didn't call and he said he would. And that, it could be that small, but loss is just constant all the time. So I got the notion that maybe we should get good at it. Maybe we should learn how to, and take the small losses and practice a little. That's kind of what I try to do. But yes, we do. We have in our Western culture, we've always had, not always, in the last 100 years, we've had this concept of a kind of hero's journey. Oh my goodness, this happened and it is difficult. I'm not trying to say it isn't. But what we've lost is the village mind. That's the hero mind, but the village mind is really what I'm coming to understand is what we say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise ourselves, to go through the things we go through. One of the dangers we have, and I'm in this danger zone, one of the dangers we have when we get older is that we can get crotchety and unpleasant, and no one wants to be around us, right? So I recommend that people learn a little bit better about what to do with the things that didn't work out the way you thought they were going to. This isn't what I thought I was going to be doing at this time in my life. You've heard that sort of thing happen. So, so there's many faces to our losses. And so what I've been just excited about, because it is, see, when you lose something really important, then it gets you to face what is really important. And maybe you have some regrets about that relationship. So you want to make sure the next one gets all your attention. So we become better people through this.
That's very true. Pain. I used to say this in the barbershop days when we held our podcast platform, and that is sometimes when we survive, that pain becomes somebody else's medicine. And, life is not always easy, to your point. But I like what you said about the very thing that hurts us is the very thing that teaches us how to appreciate more, do better next time. Might be a little bit overprotective, but within good reason, because we're learning from the past and we want to make the best out of the next chapter. So I think that is a very good point to make, that sometimes our struggles, our letdowns, our pain is actually a teaching moment for us to move on better, not just bitter or sad, but with a new understanding.
Absolutely. And then, you mentioned that I had the loss of a son to AIDS at the time when we hadn't solved that one yet in the medical field. So he was on the drugs to help, but we don't really know. When you're on a trial, you don't really know what you're getting. That's the point. So it didn't save him, but I think his participation in it was helpful to other people that came after. And then a daughter who had breast cancer. And that's a common experience, and most people survive it. But in her particular case, it did not. She did not. So you have to have the long view. So, like, I'll give you an example. I'm going to be going to my daughter's wedding very soon. And I have this incredible gift to give to her, which she doesn't know about yet. So I hope she's not going to listen to this. But the gift I'm going to give her is a gift that her mother gave me. And it was a cross stitch. You've probably seen these framed, cross hand woven, hand embroidered, the Irish blessing, which is my heritage. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. And this was given to me, was hung in my hallway for 37 years. Was given it to me by my granddaughter Tori's mother. Now she's going to have her shower this weekend, and I am flying in with this as her gift because she needs to have this. So it will be from her mother. Her mother died when she was 7. So it'll be from her mother through me. And so this is the way that art, it connects us and it helps us heal. The making of it, the giving of it, the looking at it, all those years as I would see that in my hallway. I thought of my daughter, I thought of my grandchildren, and eventually I said, who should this go to now? And so that's what's happening this weekend.
Well, from Refocused Radio, we want to extend our best wishes and congratulations to her, and may she have full days of smiles and great memories, and likewise with you, making that opportunity to fly there and create those memories as well. I just literally talked about this about a couple of weeks ago with another guest, that when you get older, you start to change your priorities and creating memories with the ones that are still here. Right. That becomes top of the list because when you're young, you don't think about that much as much.
Well, when you're young, you don't realize how fragile life really is. And I was speaking with some women and one gentleman yesterday about sometimes things can change in an instant. And we happen to be talking about an accident, or people in sports know this, that, you can be in top fit. I mean, you're ready to go and hopefully you're going to get chosen by the NFL. But in a minute, in a second, you cannot be available. Either that you're no longer physically available, or that the gift of your life is done. So, I mean, we don't like to think about that, but the thing about it, though, what it does is it makes us really recognize now, today, this moment really is the only thing we have for sure. And so let's not miss out on it. Let's not, get distracted here.
Exactly. Once again, listen, I'll be Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our special guest today, Dr. Sheila K. Collins. I want to talk about your book. In your book, The Art of Grieving, you ask, what if grieving were a skill we could practice and master, like an art form? What does that mean for our viewers, our listeners, and kind of unpack that for us?
Yes, I will. So I'm not talking about you make a picture and it's in the museum. No, I mean, no. I'm saying my daughter made this little cross stitch thing, and it was framed in my hallway. So we're talking folk art that folks make. Just regular folks. One of the things that I believe in a lot, and in my book, I have a lot of stories. Our stories are full of wisdom and humor and connection. I love the expression, the shortest distance between two people is a story. So when you tell a story, there's something in it. Because it's a human story, there's something in it for me, and vice versa. So storytelling is one of the forms that I talk a lot about. It helps us to make meaning. It helps us to find truth, where you hear it hit in this way, and you hear it from someone else. You hear it from someone else. It starts to make a very big impact. So storytelling is one. Music. Now, music is the most researched of how it changes our brain. Music has rhythm, so it gives order to disorder. One of the things that I recognized, I interviewed people for whom music is so like a medicine. And so they taught me a lot about it. And one of the things that just I love is the notion that, in music, you have a sort of, turmoil sometimes, you might say, da 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 da, and then it goes, da dum, da dum, and that is a resolution. There's a finish. Now, it's not forever. It's just for the, now there's going to be another turmoil, and then there's going to be another resolution. So that notion, even we can feel it in our bodies, we can hear it in the sound of it, and how satisfying it is when it da-dum. That's it. So for now, so sort of episodically, we're vibratory beings, and so it gets to us. It's also, though, you have to be careful or recognize, sometimes we hear music and it takes us to a memory. It might be a memory you're not really wanting to go there, but too bad, you're already there. So to recognize that the music is part of what we call grief bursts sometimes. And see, the other thing that we had some misunderstandings about how grief really works. We kind of thought of it like it was a stair step that you kind of climb, and then you get to the, you have these different feelings, then you get to the top, you dust your hands off, you say, okay, well, that's it. Except that's not it. That's not it at all. And so nobody does that. But if you think you're supposed to, you're kind of feel bad about yourself, or you feel bad about grandma who she's still kind of meandering around here about something. So that processing, fortunately, music is one of the big things that can help us. There's music, people, when they work out, they don't have dirge music, slow and it's uptime, right? Time for uptime. So we can really do so much good for ourselves and for other people just with using music. And then my favorite, of course, is dance. I started out life as a dancer, and I have insisted stubbornly to keep dancing. So I have to say that it keeps me healthy, it keeps me invigorated, it keeps me caring about taking care of myself, because like I said, you trip, you're done for at least a while till you mend whatever it was you injured, right? So it helps me to realize how precious it is to be in this body, and I'm going to take care of it.
And speaking of dancing, I read in your portfolio, if you will, online, that you dance at your son's funeral.
Yes.
Tell us about that story. How did that moment come about, and how that turned out for you?
Well, Shema, I have to say, I really hadn't ever heard of anybody dancing at a funeral, although, there are different customs in different cultures. But I had been with my best friend when she was dying, and it took her 16 days. She said to me, "This is taking longer than I thought." What, does it seem that way to you? I mean, that's the way. She was not in pain, but she knew she was, coming to the end. So she asked me to dance at her funeral. So of course, okay. So I did. And then my son died about 2 years later. And I thought, well, if I danced at my friend's funeral, I should dance at my son's. So fortunately, he was in the theater and all his friends were in the theater. So the funeral that we had was a celebration of his life. And so, of course, his friends who were singers, they sang, and we showed a video of him. His theater teacher gave me a video of him. So he even essentially sang at his own funeral. And so anyway, I decided I would dance at his. And so the most amazing thing, magic happens when you just say yes. So I'm there and I'm dancing, and I hear in the corner, "What is she doing?" Like that whisper, that stage whisper, and I know exactly who it is. It's my 3-year-old grandson, and he is saying out loud what probably a lot of other people are thinking. What is she doing? And so I said, well, I'm dancing for Uncle Ken at his funeral. Do you want to join me? Oh, he said, no, he buried himself in his mother's skirt. He's 3 years old. So, but the 5-year-old, I said, what about, and he takes my hand. So he dances with me. So here I am at this time when I had the most sorrow I've ever had in my life. I am also at the same time, now pay attention to this, at the same time, I am having the most joy. So the lesson for me on that is it's not either or. It's not either or. One of the weirdest things that happened, and I mentioned I'm going to a wedding. At that wedding, my daughter will be more missed at that time by her kids, by her husband, because she's not there. I mean, it's a happy time, but there will be sorrow too. So there is a bittersweet, is that the word? The term bittersweetness to it. It goes together. It goes together. And so I still can go back to the time I danced with my 5-year-old grandson, who is now 30 years old and a grown man. So it also is something I always have. I don't forget that.
You said that when you think about grief here in the United States, Western culture, a lot of times grief can have a bad reputation.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? And what are some ways that we could put some light on that and turn things around as far as how we look at it?
Well, it's interesting. One of the things is I learned it because after I did Warrior Mother, the book Warrior Mother was a memoir of our family and the story of my daughter and my son and what it was that we did to help ourselves and how people and the gifts that we had. And to be truthful, the part that I wanted to tell was the good stuff, and it's connected to the bad stuff. I mean, you don't need people to come to your house and bring dinner 3 nights a week for 2 years. You don't, if everything's okay, right? So, but the fact that people did that, her children grew up in this community of love and running to the front door to see who's coming and what they're bringing. At, again, a time that was very, very tough and difficult for that family. So there's that connection to it. And so, but after I did the Warrior Mother book, we did some performing of it. I would read something from the book, and then I have an improv troupe that responds. They practice responding with their own stories. So and they have children too, or they have, whatever I mentioned, they've got something that reminds them of. So we would do that, and people would love it, the people that came, but a lot of people were afraid even to tell their friends that we were having it. And they would say things like, well, I don't know if Susan's really ready. I'm not sure she's ready. So what I recognize is we have such a kind of almost extremes protectiveness for people that we don't know. I mean, we don't want to cause any pain. So what I say to people about that, you are not causing pain. The pain, if it's there, it's there. That to be invited to a concert, is not going to cause pain. The person will go or not go. I mean, it may be the right time. It may not be. I don't know. Each person has to check into with themselves. And so I recognize some of our protectiveness, and we can do this with children too, our protectiveness. Like what has amazed me, some of the stories in the Art of Grieving, there's a story in there about one of my granddaughters, and I'm online with her during COVID. I helped her with her schooling. And so she tells me one day that she's making a bracelet, and she's making this bracelet for her friend to help her feel better because her animal died yesterday. So she's, and I'm thinking she knows what does your friend need? She needs your love. She needs a reminder. So I think it's one of my favorite stories in the book is this, what happens when her friend, when the gerbil dies, and she writes a little message, a little note, and she says, whenever you see this bracelet, I can be with you. Something like that. And I'm like, how does she know this? She's like 8 years old. Well, she does. But our culture then may discourage her from like, oh dear, something's happened. I better not mention anything, right? Don't mention it. It'll make her hurt. Instead of, let me give you a bracelet and here's a message, and then when she does it, she signs it, the gerbil. I mean, I was like, you can just imagine how that simple kind of experience, that simple truth of love, that's really what people want. That's what we need. Pretty simple.
Yeah, exploring that type of support that she offered her friend. For those who are listening and watching us right now, and they may know someone, a loved one that is currently grieving, what are some best, I would say best, what are some okay ways to support your loved ones without feeling that they're overbearing or insensitive to their space, of course?
Right. Well, of course, people are always worried they don't know what to say. So what I say to people, it's not words. Words are not it. So you can relax on that front. You don't have a speech. You don't have to have a speech ready. So I when you watch, as I do sometimes, those television cop shows. The cop shows, they have to come in and they have to tell the relative that somebody died, and sometimes the person they think killed him is the person they're telling this to. I mean, this is really complicated. So, but they are human beings, and this is a human being. And so they tell them and they say, I'm very sorry for your loss, which anybody can say that. And it's true. I'm sorry for your loss. And of course, the policeman might be thinking, and I'm hoping you're not the one that caused it. But they don't say that then. It's, So, but that's the part. We get so dedicated to the notion that we have to perform in some wonderful way. Mostly what we need to do is listen. So one of the things that people can say is, tell me about your sister. Tell me about your sister. And the person, I can almost guarantee you, wants to talk about their sister. They want to tell you about their sister at that time. So we're just making ourselves available. and maybe the person wants to go for a walk or to the pub for a drink, or maybe they just need, let them decide what they need. Let them, and just checking up on people, just checking up, especially afterwards. The other day I was online with somebody and he said that there was a woman in their community that, when COVID hit, she started this group online where they played board games online. And it's been going on for 6-7 years now. So she died the other day. And he said, now I know she wasn't our mother or father or child, she wasn't close, but there's a hole in our lives right now because she's the one that put this all together. So he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just reach out to people. Say, how you doing with Susan, Susan leaving us here, what are your thoughts? Or just give them a chance to vent if they want to, and also, it's saying that I'm here with you. I'm here for you. I'm here.
Once again, being listening on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest today, Dr. Sheila K. Collins. And you go to her website, SheilaKCollins.com. Can't believe time is already up. It's like,
I know.
That's crazy.
One other thing that I'm doing, I want to let people know about. So this notion of doing art, and so I'm doing some retreats, and I'm doing one in the Laurel Highlands the end of May. That's in Pennsylvania. October, I'm doing one in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And what we're doing is partnering with, we're taking our stories, and telling the stories to each other, but we're also connecting with art teachers. So we'll do watercolors, we'll do blacksmithing with hammers. And so we can express, because grief is really expressing and processing our losses so we can celebrate our lives. So if people out there are interested in that project, get a hold of me. My email is my name also, SheilaKollins@yahoo.com.
I know we have hit the end of the interview, but if you had something that you would want to share with someone who maybe feels like, man, I'm not in that creative space, but maybe there's ways I can learn how to help someone who might be going through some grieving processes. I know they can re-listen to our interview and get the answer, but just refreshing our audience, what could they do to show genuine support?
Well, I think people sense whether you're someone who can be there in the tough times. So it's not that you're doing, but you're just making yourself available. It feels like to me that it's not, I've got the answer. Let me just take over here. And, maybe that's your personality. Maybe that's what you do. And maybe it works. I don't know. But maybe a safer thing is to say, hey, I've been thinking about you. Or I'll tell you one really that people don't recognize sometimes, the anniversary of someone having gone. So one of my best friends, her son died on the birthday of my son, and neither one of them knew each other. And so whenever that comes, we go out to lunch, or we tell stories about our sons. So that, you see, loss keeps going. It's still there. That loss is still there, and that love is still there. And the love gets bigger, it feels like, and it'll get bigger if you have more people that know. The people who went to my son's funeral and they didn't know him, they came because they knew us, and they said they felt like they it was great. I wish I knew him better now that I've heard about him, right? So we can learn about people through the stories we tell about them. They can become part of our life and our inspiration.
We'll leave that there. And like always, been talking to our special guest today, Dr. Sheila K. Collins. Like always, want to say to you, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Samaya. I really appreciate what you're doing. So have a wonderful day.